And welcome to the SeeItNow podcast, a 15-minute review of a movie near you. My name is Michael.
And I'm Don.
I'm Manon.
Come on, children. Come on, children. Come on, clap your hands. Today we are going to do a podcast on It Was Just an Accident. It Was Just an Accident by Panhai. The way the podcast is going to go, we're going to do a quick description of what the movie is. We're going to tell everyone what we liked, what we didn't like. We are going to review the movie. Then we're going to do a top three, a special top three, and then we will review our lunch. So the first segment is, what is this movie all about? Mr. Don Gibson, please give it to me.
This film is about what would you do if you happened to run across the person that interrogated and beat you while you were a political prisoner.
Manon, what was something or some things that you love about It Was Just an Accident?
From the very opening scene we can see this quiet family driving, interrupted by an accident, and that becomes the film's whole foundation. And it sets up this idea of how random events can completely change your life. And I also loved how the revenge story revolves around this road trip. And I mean, the performances are fantastic. The situations the characters find themselves in are both absurd and also emotionally heavy. And one thing that I thought was interesting, that Panhai himself says that the most important part of a film is the beginning and the end, and that generally he finds the two and then he tries to fill in the middle. And you can see it in every frame here. I mean, a precise, controlled opening, devastating. My French can't say it.
Devastating
ending. And the middle dances between tension, absurdity, and really deep humanity.
You know, people ask this stupid question, who would you want to have dinner with, anyone living or dead? I would want to have dinner with Jafar Panahi, and a translator. He doesn't speak English. His filmmaking is incredible. His humanity is incredible. He's so thoughtful in how he constructs films, as I think Manon said very well. The opening is like a 12-minute long shot, which is actually quite riveting. So many things are going on. We're just looking at a car. And then there's a final sequence is like 15 minutes, which is just unbelievable, followed by another sequence at the end. And you're just, this is not action-packed filmmaking. A lot of people say, oh, this is, realism and social commentary. And it is. But the way he does it, it's mind-blowing to me. I've seen pretty well all of his films, and every time I kind of think, oh, I know what he's going to do, and then I don't. He does something different, and this is a kind of a riff on a film he did about 15 years ago called Taxi, or Tehran Taxi, and it's about he's driving a cab around, and same issues are coming up. What would you do if you were able to confront your torturers? How would you deal with it, and how does it haunt you? And the issue is sort of started there, and he's kind of developing the same issue again now in a really profound way that kind of, it's devastating. I think it's devastating, I think.
I would say it is also devastating. It's just it's theater. I mean, there was definitely something that reminded me of obviously it was Waiting for Godot, a very long take by a tree that was probably maybe 7 minutes, and it's just actors kind of walking back and forth and performing, and it's just exquisite. I just love his control, but also it just feels sort of loose as well, in that it is just one take. You're not getting inserts, or at least in many of the scenes, you're not getting inserts. You're just letting these actors kind of perform, and I love the freedom, amongst many other things, but I love the freedom that he gives the actors.
I want to add to that because he uses non-professional actors, and it's because he likes how natural they are, and he doesn't do the insert thing. He'll shoot a scene, and he's talked about this in the past, and then somebody, if he has a DP or whoever, they say, hey, should we do these other shots? He says, no, I know what I shot, and I don't need the close-ups. I don't need the cutaways. I don't need the two shots. I know what I shot, and his confidence in filmmaking is unbelievable. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and he connects really well with these non-professional actors.
I could be wrong, but there was limited to no music. Was that true?
There's a little, but not much.
Really amazing. I just loved it. It's almost like a documentary in that respect, and how the form worked. A little
Well,
harder.
and also talking
right?
about the music, there's that song the little girl listens to in the beginning, which is like, I guess, a pop Iranian song that's really loud and audacious and over the top. And she wants the father to turn it up full blast, and she bounces out of the back seat. He always uses, just like Miyazaki, he has young girls as his heroines. They're innocent, they're confident, and they believe in each other and they want to help people. And you always see a young girl in this film, and she always has this powerful role that sways all these older characters.
I just want to say I do think that it's really bold what he did, and like it's just so impressive how he does those wide shots and long sequences and still manages to convey that tension and anxiety and emotion that most other directors would do through close-ups and that kind of thing.
I want to add
Go
too
ahead.
his narrative choices. They do capture this guy, and this guy that tortured a bunch of people, and they have him in the van. They're trying to figure out what to do with him. In the meantime, they find out his wife is pregnant. She's giving birth, and then they go and they get the wife and they take her to the hospital. And they help her. And this whole turn of the narrative is, I was thinking, what is going on? This is absolutely insane. Why are they helping? And the reason they are is because the little daughter calls them and says, "Please help my mom. My mom needs help." And they go help this woman and they give birth and then they collect money for her. And it's this whole spin and narrative, which for me, if you're making a film in the United States, they'll say that story is not going to work. We're not going to do that. And that kind of stuff is what I love about it, because I don't know what's happening. I love seeing that in a film. I don't know what's going to happen next.
The whole time I thought that um Panhai was doing 100 things at once, and it felt a little overwhelming. But then at the end, you just find out that he's been just doing one thing the whole time, and that incredibly well. I will say that I think having seen Taxi before, or at least knowing Panahis personal history, is like adds a very important layer to the movie. And I think that if you don't know all of that, the emotional weight maybe doesn't hit as hard for some people watching because it leans heavily on the real world context.
Great point. And also coming from like a Western audience, obviously that's like something that we're dealing with because we're so isolated from the situation there. And he's obviously shining a light on it, which is awesome. And like, but I do wonder if a title card at the beginning would be good to broaden his audience. I don't know. It's maybe controversial.
Well, the thing about he talks a lot about challenges in filmmaking. The challenges in filmmaking he has is to make films under a repressive regime. He doesn't care. I believe him. He doesn't care about the financing, and he's often been accused of making films for film festivals and not for Iranians. And he's like, I make films for myself. And this notion of, is he accessing? Is he hitting the plot points? Frankly, I don't think he gives a shit. And I think that's why he's such a phenomenal filmmaker. I don't know if he'll ever be, celebrated with massive, monetary success, but everyone recognizes what he's doing is just kind of a level above a vast majority of people, because in America, you got to justify this amount, this expenditure, et cetera. And he just finances the films himself. And he's just like, I'll make a film and people are going to watch him.
Don, you had some problems with the film?
I think in the middle, there was a lot of kind of yelling back and forth of what to do with this guy's name is Pegleg, the interrogator. And I thought it kind of dragged on a little bit. You mentioned the Godot. I was curious why they had a Godot set up and why he was referencing Godot, because Panah's known for doing only original stories and rarely referencing others.
Manon, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I have to talk about Taxi just for a minute. I do feel that compared to Taxi, maybe the film could be argued to have been less spontaneous than Taxi was. Heavier, of course, and Taxi I feel like was maybe lighter, and made the political critique kind of feel more effortless.
It just feels like such a film that's like kind of doable, and it just really kind of relies heavily on its storytelling and its character. And it's just so refreshing. Don, what's your grade for It Was Just an Accident? And you could please share with us your least favorite 1 and your most favorite 10, if you could do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna stick with my least favorite. It's Maverick, Top Gun, horrible. I left, couldn't stand it. And then one of my top films is Igire, Wrath of God by Vanna Herzog. Um, I will give this film a 9.5. And the only reason I'm taking a 0.5 off is Panhai himself is not in the film, and I just missed him. I wanted to see him in the film, and he wasn't there.
My one would probably be, I mean, last time I said Avengers movie. That's about the range. I also really don't like Titanic, so that might be down there. And then my 10 probably be In the Mood for Love, Cleo 5 to 7. And my grade for this movie would be I have Letterboxd and I put a 4.5 out of 5.
That's a 9.
Double it.
I have my movies that I actually am just gonna pull from what I see in my little collection here. Probably like one of my least favorite movies, and it just happens to be in my stack, is this is The Passion of the Christ, the VHS that I pulled off the street. I just feel like I should have this because it's so fucking weird. So that's my one.
I like that film.
It's all right. I'd say I have two of my 10s are right here too. And I say the Raiders of Lost Ark, can't really see it. And I think Style Wars, you can't really see it because of the blur. But like these two movies are my 10. I'd say this movie is about a 9. I gave it or 9.5. I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's the best film of the year. It should win the Oscar. It's not going to win the Oscar for best picture, not just foreign film. I think it's incredible. I said it's the best film of the year on my letterbox.
I want to segue into this. Manon has this great idea that we're going to talk about, best film endings. And this film has a remarkably good film ending. And it's so hard to end a film like this. It's so emotionally intense and so much about people suffering and political. And the ending is just, it's remarkable. I was like, oh, there's a really long shot. Okay, it's going to end here. And then no, there's this additional 5-minute scene that is remarkably well done. So my first one, which I love, which some people probably won't know, is a Herzog film called Stroitsek. And the ending is our character Stroitsek, and I'm going to tell the ending because it's fine. He kills himself. He goes up on an empty, lift in a little resort, and then because he realized the American dream is empty, and that happens. And then we go inside this little arcade where all these, if you put like chicken feed into a little chicken's one, it dances, and there's all these other animals. And the ends with like a 3-minute shot. It's called The Dancing Chicken.
I saw this film not so long ago. A Brighter Summer Day by Edward Young. It's a Taiwanese movie. I thought the ending really stayed with me. Because it hits hard because it's quiet at the end. You should really see it. I don't want to spoil anything like Dunn does.
So my ending thing is Primal Fear. Shocking ending to me. I mean, remember that ending stuck with me. Directed by Gregory Hoblet. I don't even know. Richard Gere movie. Sort of Edward Norton's first big performance, and that I just put that first because I do recall being like, "Damn, that was crazy."
My second one, I'm going to give away this ending too because you have to do it. It's The Social Network by Fincher. And it's a story of Facebook guy, but the last scene, the whole trial's ended and he's had to give some money, but he's still incredibly loaded, is him sending a friend request to the prosecuting lawyer. Oh, she was like an intern, but she's very sweet and thoughtful. And it's just him refreshing his feed, trying to friend this person that basically just saw what a shallow idiot he was.
Mine is Pierrot le Fou by Godard. I mean, he totally abandoned traditional storytelling in this movie at the end. And it's just very unpredictable and all about what life and freedom really is about.
I got Sopranos, the last episode. It was directed by David Chase and written by David Chase. It's not really a movie, but
it's not a movie.
I'll leave it that.
My last one is Midsummer, where it's everything's set on fire. A guy's in a bear suit. And the woman is the incredible flower dress that I just blew me away.
I was saying La La Land because the ending is just, I cried so much. I still cry about it.
I had 2 towards the end. House of Dynamite, the movie by Catherine Bigelow that just came out this year. And it was absolutely horrible. Probably one of the worst movies I'd seen this year. And so don't go see it. For those who know, no, that movie's not that good. Get Out, I thought was interesting because it also had like the 2 type of endings. I think there was like the cop coming out. I think Jordan Peele actually had to kind of battle that. I just kind of threw Get Out in there. I hadn't really put a lot of thought into these lists, but I wish I had put more thought because both of yours are so interesting, whereas mine were just sort of like back to basics, including The Sopranos. Whatever. That being said, we got to do a review of our lunch. Don, what do you got for your lunch when you watched It Was Just an Accident?
Well, it was dinner. I saw an evening showing. We went to a local pizzeria. I saw it in Film Forum in the village, and so we found a really good pizzeria, which I don't know the name of, but I love pizza and a beer, and I was satisfied. So, what are we at a 10 on this one? I'd say it was a 7. Nothing memorable, but I certainly was well fed.
Manon, what do we got? What's going on in Italy? What was the Rome version of lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever?
My foods are always disappointing. This time before I went to the movie, I just made myself a salad with chickpea and chicken. Great seasoning, but that was it. And since I did it, a lot of good olive oil though, of course, Italy. I will rank it a 9 out of 10.
That's
Wow.
fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. My girlfriend Supatra and I went to my favorite bar, Hollow Nickel, and we had some French fries, and I dunked it into this Chipotle sauce, the French fry Chipotle combo. I'm going to give this a 9. It is so delectable. I call that place a lot on this podcast. Okay, Manon, it is your choice, your movie. What are we going to do for the holiday season? What movie are we going to review next?
Let's do It's a Wonderful Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to sign off, but before we do, we would like to cue some band, any band. Who is it, Manon?
The Grateful Dead, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah! Come on, children, come on, children, come on, clap your